David Tuffley is a senior lecturer in applied ethics and cybersecurity at Griffith University in Australia, and he joins me now live from Brisbane. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on the News Hour. Now, holding people
Thank you.
accountable for their actions sounds great, but what's at stake here for users of these social media platforms? How much information is the government going to have access to?
Well, the draft legislation that the government is just about to pass makes users liable for what they say. Their identities will be recorded by the social media platform, and if it is a legitimate case of defamation or libel, then the social media platform will be obliged to provide the information so that court proceedings can be initiated. This is a really land-breaking or landmark sort of legislation, really, unlike anything that's been proposed elsewhere in the world.
As a lecturer in cybersecurity, what did you make of these recent laws that the Australian government has spoken about?
Yes, the key thing that the Prime Minister said is that he wants to see the same rules applied in cyberspace as apply in the real world. This is really the essence of what it's about, is that for too long people have been able to, be completely anonymous online, and that has tempted some to, act and say in very intemperate ways, and quite hurtful ways. So if somebody is liable in the real world, then they should be made liable in the online world.
What are some of the downsides for companies like Twitter and Facebook if Australia does indeed enforce these laws?
The social media platforms understand that the mood is gradually changing to a more accountable situation in relation to what they can and cannot do. They've had a really free reign of things for a long time, decades, in fact. But community expectations, it's not just in Australia. I understand the European Union is bringing in some fairly strict regulations along these lines too.
Mhm.
Basically, they will need to comply with the regulations if
Right.
they are to continue.
On that note, if they don't comply to the standards the Australian government is trying to set here, can we see these social media giants pull out from the country?
This has been the suggestion and the threat in the past. About a year ago, the Australian government obliged Facebook and Google to pay for news content produced by local media organisations,
Hmm.
which they were able to get for free before. And for a couple of days, Facebook ceased presenting any news on their platform. It only lasted a few days before, a compromise was reached.
Right. All right, David Tuffley, thank you so much for joining us here on Territory World. It was a pleasure having you.